Lovely ones. So I'm here for your full moon forecast. I've just landed. I've got back from a holiday in Switzerland, which was gorgeous, and my cousin got married, which was beautiful, ceremony outside. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to come back to business and the world, which is always hard after a holiday, isn't it? I hope you're all doing well. So this full moon is going to be in Leo on the 1st of August at 9 degrees and 16 minutes at 6:31 p.m. That's GMT time, so do check from a different time zone. So with the full moon, we have that polarity. The moon is in Aquarius, and we have the sun opposite in Leo. So this axis is quite interesting. We've moved into Leo season, which is all about being big, being bold, expressing ourselves and really having that courage. As if you think of Leo as an archetype, it is the lion, it's fearless, it's all about being courageous. So with this full moon in Aquarius, we're asked to, how can we be expressive, be bold, and be in the limelight, which Leo loves, but also how can we embrace this part of Aquarius, which loves to be part of a community as well, and really values freedom and independence. I know this, I've got Venus in Aquarius, it's about one of my only air placements, and community to me is very important. So it's just something to consider. Do you have a community? And if you don't, what kind of community or groups would feel supportive in line with your bigger purpose in the world? So for me, I've actually had this idea bubbling up about a creative community, that I feel I need a creative community to be held accountable for my creative practice. And I know many creatives of you watching this probably feel the same. So that's bubbling up for me. And obviously at a full moon, just remind you, is a time of culmination. So look back to the seeds or intentions you planted 2 weeks ago on the new moon, and just notice what seeds are starting to take shape. Often we're on to the next thing, but just have a look. Are there small, if those intentions, are they growing in small ways? And acknowledge that. The full moon also asks us to celebrate, which I'm a big fan of, because I think often if you're in the soul business world, or you're a creative, we often can be quite ambitious and we're on to the next thing, and we don't take time to breathe and just go, oh, I'm proud of myself for that. So taking time to celebrate the last couple of weeks. What are you proud of yourself for? And do share with me in the comments. I do love connecting with you guys. So the full moon, as I said, is in Aquarius. Aquarius is very much about freedom and independence. So it's helping us really own our quirks. We all have quirks. We all have things that maybe we feel a bit shy about, that we want to cover up. But those quirks are what probably our loved ones see beyond the curtain. So how can you embrace more of those quirks and actually bring them into your creative work and in your creative business? Because the more you embrace those quirks, actually, the more people will magnetize towards you and your art. For example, I was wanting to share a post about this, and I will, but I mean, my partner knows I'm a bit batshit bonkers. That's a phrase a few of us use in a networking group. But I often will ask before I go to bed at night not to go astral traveling, because I often can wake up very tired in the morning. That's a whole nother story. But it's embracing those quirks that make you. How can you share them when you're showing up online or in your business? How can you bring those quirks into your artwork, whether you paint, you draw, you write, whatever it is? How can you express those parts of you? Because we've got Leo's often about self-expression and creativity. So like, what are, how are those creative pursuits that you have, how are they growing or evolving? Maybe there's a new style that's starting to come out. And I think I mentioned that at the new moon two weeks ago, as we might view our creative expression in a new light. So maybe you're seeing the beginnings of something taking shape, which is exciting. So we also have quite a lot of planets in retrograde. So Venus, Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune are all in retrograde at the moment. So they're all, well, 3 of them are outer planets. So I'm just going to focus on zoom into Venus retrograde at the moment, because they're sort of in the background. Basically, with a retrograde, it means that a planet appears to be moving backwards. So really what it means is it's a time to reflect on the themes of those planets. So I'm going to focus in on Venus, because those retrogrades of the outer planets are going is a longer retrograde, but Venus only retrogrades once every 18 months. So it's more rare, shall we say. And Venus really represents love and our artistic expression, as well as money. So you might feel, particularly at the moment, Venus is retrograde in Leo. So I've been talking about this self-expression and our creativity. So you might also be reassessing your creative pursuits. What is it? Where do you want to focus your energy? And you might get a lot of light bulb moments. So as well, because it's related to money. So there might be new ways that you can make money from your artwork. Maybe there's a different approach you want to take. So now is a really good time to reflect on that. Are the ways that you're putting your creative work out there, do they feel aligned to you? Do they feel aligned to your values? And if there's a disconnect, how can you connect more with those values, right? And actually be courageous. There's something in here about courage, because Venus is in Leo. So it's that fire energy. It's about being seen, being heard in the world. What is one small step you can take to just be a bit bolder in your creative work and share that in the world? And actually Venus is in a square with Uranus. So Venus being about love and money, like I mentioned, and artistic expression. When it's in a square with Uranus can be a planet that's quite radical, can also bring excitement. So as we're revisiting, our relationship with creativity, but also our relationship with other people, Uranus might be shaking things up. Like we feel this need to reflect on those themes, but then Uranus kind of wakes us up in some way. It's like a lightning bolt that comes in that we probably didn't see coming. So it could be a surprise. It could be something out of the blue that happens. It could be something positive, but there is a bit of this tension and a sense of, you might feel a bit like restless or erratic when it comes to like love and money. So there might be things that shock you, that an old pattern around money and love surfaces for you. And actually I've heard that from a few people recently. They're having there's a lot going on in people's relationships at the moment. So just come back to yourself and know that if something is shaking you up, it's probably shaking you up for a reason. I believe that the universe reroutes us sometimes, and the universe can see the bigger picture. We can't always see what's going on. So patience is required, and I know that is hard for us. I know I struggle with that myself, but stick with it. And then we've got the sun and the moon is in a square with Jupiter. So that square aspect is a tension, is like an inner conflict, it can feel like. So there's a sense that This Leo energy wants us to play and be very self-expressive, and almost maybe be so spontaneous that we kind of forget about our responsibilities. And obviously the summer sun, a lot of people tend to feel more free, more liberated. But Jupiter there is just Jupiter and Taurus is sort of reminding us, okay, so what about that sense of security? Those, security meaning money and resources. How can you grow on them? Don't forget those seeds you planted in that area of your life. So it could be a system that you're wanting to set up for your finances, your resources. It could be a new way of doing your finances or resources. So just thinking about that. And then we've got Pluto is in a trine with Uranus. So they are outer planets, but they still very much come in. So as you're probably aware, Pluto has been prominent for a few years since the pandemic, and it's still at the end of Capricorn. And we've been through a lot of, I think a lot of people's trauma or hidden trauma has come to the surface. So Pluto can represent hidden trauma, also our power and, the unconscious or shadow self that we don't really want to look at. When it's in a trine with Uranus, this is a really good aspect, actually. So Pluto can feel quite heavy. We don't want to look at the shadows. We don't want to look at that the stuff we've repressed, that we've we've buried under the surface. But actually, there's an opportunity here for depth. So that trauma or that grief and those things that have surfaced in the last couple of years, I feel that is actually adding depth to our life and to our creativity. So feel into that depth. Pluto asks that we feel into our deep soul. The deepest part of us that just knows. It's that inner knowing that you have about something. So there might be like another layer of depth that you get to in your vision of the future, where you want to head to, your ambitions. So, I feel like we've shed a lot collectively and individually in the last couple of years. So, but now Uranus is almost bringing a sense of excitement and surprises. Those things that I think if we're open to it, miracles do happen. And this is like, right, you've done the deep digging, you've done the inner work. Now this is a nice little surprise or a nice little miracle, to improve your life. Here's a kind of, not a reward, but a sense of fresh energy and excitement, because we've transmuted a lot. So is this idea that our imagination might have expanded, something about our imagination expanding. So it's exciting. And also at this time, obviously the full moon's in a fixed energy. Aquarius and Leo are the fixed signs. We've also got, in general, this full moon, a lot of fixed energy. So it's stabilizing. It's the glue that holds the bricks together, or the cement that hold the bricks together. So, we should feel more grounded and more centered at this time. So just use that energy to create those containers and structures that support you in your creative life and your business. So anyway, I'd love to hear what is brewing for you this full moon. Let me know in the comments. What are you celebrating at this full moon? Like, what are you proud of that has happened in the last 2 weeks? It could be something really small. Share it below, and do share your insights below the video, and share with anyone that you think this would benefit. All right, for now, bye and happy new moon.